back?
Not yet.
Okay, well, it says
It's
we're
not going to be
streaming
instant.
now.
Yeah,
It's restarting.
that's good.
Yeah, I
Sorry,
have a hard.
guys. We had some technical difficulties, and OBS shut down on us. So we're back. Uh, we'll just keep going, picking up where we went off from. What's that, Rick?
So I do have the hard stop at 5.
Yeah, that's fine.
For me personally.
The Joy stops you all on your way out of town, and or at least walks up to Mirth on Honesty and walks besides Honesty on your way out of town, and says, "Where are you going?"
Up to the mountains, going to go check out a lead we have on the other hags, at least. Because we can't take this every single night.
I didn't sleep last night.
Yeah, I figured. None of us did well. I don't
Nightmares?
suppose you want to come, do you?
No. If this keeps happening, then the village will need me. What if they're still here somewhere? Is there a way to reach you? Oh, Mother O'Galvin could probably send to you.
Yes, and I can send to you. I'll make sure that Luna's a good distance down the road, and then I will pull my packed tome from an inner pocket and flip it open to the registry. And Lark's name is signed there in elegant, winding noble script, and Trust's below in a heavy ink pen. And I'll just flip it open and offer her a quill and just tap them right there, and I can send to you whenever you need. So if she contacts me, I can continuously contact you back, and I can check in every now and then.
Yeah, she just grabs the pen and writes her name in the book.
Well, hopefully this shouldn't go on for too long. If you have any trouble, one of your lower caliber spells, Protection from Evil and Good, should serve to quell nightmares for a short while. So if you see anybody struggling in their sleep, apply that, and it should solve it, if temporarily.
She nods. I'll let the mother know. Good luck.
You too. Love you.
Don't be long, if you can help it.
We'll try.
And she heads back into the church to start preparing for another funeral. You all head out onto the road.
As Serena gets up near Luna, he'll look at her and go, "Climb on board," and he'll shift into the elk form.
Just before we do that, shouldn't Luna and Vizier be at the forest by now before they arrive?
Yeah, Luna and Vizier went up ahead. So yes, you are ahead of the group.
So when we get to the edge of the forest, Luna would look at Vizier and tell him that the last time I was feeling this bad, you did your best to make me smile, and you didn't stop. Now I don't have the same energy that you have, but I can't see you like this, so if there's anything you want to share, you want to tell me, now's the right time to do that.
It's stupid. It is. I just still haven't gotten really over everything. My nightmare last night, it was me just watching everyone die at the monastery. Students, you guys, Master Crow. I pushed everything down before. I thought I dealt with it. I had a good cry over Crow at the very least, but I mean, a lot of students died. And if we hadn't been there, Master Morrison may have died as well, and I don't even know if I would have been able to continue if that happened. And that just kind of goes along with another thing that I've been thinking about, which is just the fact that the likelihood of any one of us dying on this everything that we're doing is pretty high. I mean, Sharpye's already died, and you're not always going to be able to bring people back. And I don't know what I'm going to do if I have to deal with anybody dying and me not being able to... in them staying dead. I don't know if I'll be able to deal with it well enough. And I mean, I told you, you weren't there at the funeral with Master Crow. But I said there, Luna, I'm only 18. I know Sarani is young, but by human standards, I'm pretty young too. I try to deal with everything the best I can through meditation, but it doesn't always work. And the fact is, I'm going to have to deal with more loss as we go forward. I like to think that I'm strong enough, that I've gotten to that point, that we've gotten to the point that we can handle anything, but I mean, when we got ambushed by those woodland creatures as we were leaving the cabin, Sarani went down basically as soon as it happened. Sharpeye went down. I went down. We barely got out of it with our lives, and that was... those weren't demons. Those were just random creatures in the woods. Let's face it, we're not as good as we might think we are. We'll still press forward, of course. That's not an option. We can't just not. It's our responsibility. We know what needs to be done, and we're kind of the only people who knows what needs to be done, and we need to do it. But that doesn't make it any easier. Just knowing that I have to keep going does not make going forward an easy task. On top of all that, I've been thinking about the fact that... no, that's a conversation probably best saved for when everybody has time.
Well, to be honest, those are always the same thoughts I have in mind. I don't know what I could do if any of you falls. We were lucky enough that I was able to bring back Sharp-Eyed. So, but like on the other hand, this is all we got. We gotta keep fighting, because, like I said, we're the only hope for Orden. I'm sorry, I don't always have the best words to make you feel better this year.
It's fine, Luna. Look,
But like,
I'll get over it. I will.
No. You know, I'll do my best to keep you all of you guys safe. Nobody will die as long as I'm here. That is a promise I can make openly and freely. We started together and we will end this together, and nothing bad will happen to us. Fine, we were ambushed and most of us almost fell. But we survived, and that's what we do.
I
And
just don't think I can agree.
I'm sorry I wasn't at Master Crow's funeral. I hope you know that. I'm sorry I wasn't there for you when you needed me.
I don't blame you for that. I know what you were all doing. It's just that it was a really emotional time, and I didn't get to have you there with me, and that was a little sad for me. But it's not a huge deal. Look, the idea that we're all going to survive this is one that I find to be, well, I'm pretty skeptical. These sort of quests, you read about them in books, both fiction and nonfiction, and people die. Even if they're very important, and even if you really like them, they end up dying. Usually, sometimes it's necessary. Sometimes it's just random, but it happens. You can say that you'll promise that we'll all get through this together, but I honestly don't think that's one you can keep.
Both of you have thoughts that go back to Gerard, as you've already lost one.
At the same time, I just want to make sure that if anybody does die, it is something that is controllable, and that it's not everybody, and that we succeed. Those are kind of my main goals, because I think they're more achievable.
I'm not sure if you're thinking like this because of that nightmare. We'll find a way, Basir, we always do, and I need you to have faith in us.
We don't always find a way. We really don't. We just fail sometimes, Luna. That's a fact. Sometimes we just fail. Either each other or whatever we're trying to do, it happens. So, considering the monumental odds that we're up against, like, it's not just the nightmare, okay? This is there's a talk that I've been waiting to have with everybody for a while. The nightmare just kind of, well, exacerbated my thoughts on it, I guess, a little bit. But it's probably best that I just wait until everybody is ready to have the talk, and then we can have it then.
As you say that, you watch as Pendragon flies over your head, carrying some big metal stick.
Is that is he holding what I think he's holding?
I have no idea.
Mirth, Pendragon flies over your head, and though the tiny construct can't truly get tired, he kind of sags lower and lower in the sky until he drops this staff in your direction, and then flutters down and perches upon your shoulder.
Smudge's
Three's a
head
party.
like perks up seeing the stuff and is just like really curious and inquisitive, and is like batting his tail against like the back of Angus's neck. And Angus is just like looking down at his pouch where he's got like his very, very tiny witchwood wand that he uses to cast dancing lights. And it's just like, it's not the size that matters, it's how you use it.
Very funny, David. I'll accept the staff from
Wow.
Pendragon, who has like a little, like a few tears in his wings from updrafts and just constant flying through the night. And then I'll look down at Smudge. You can meet him in a bit. He needs to rest right now, and then I'm going to kind of pinch Pendragon, and as my pinch tightens, he folds and folds back into a little origami patch that wiggles around as I just slip it into the stitches of my robe. And he swims across the left shoulder of my cloak. And I will heft my new staff and look over it. He did very well, very fast.
It is exactly as you had described it.
Thanks, Mark.
And how is that, Mark? Can you describe the staff for those of us who don't know what it looks like?
In details.
It's a dragon-headed staff made of adamantine, holding a chain with a symbol of Vidian on it. That's enough. That's plenty.
I believe you said it was made of supple ashwood in your description.
I said banded. I can get you the word if you want to be so picky about it.
Never challenge game, Mark. That's yeah.
Oh, I don't have to challenge him. I actually have the description.
Yeah, so do I. Oh, never mind. I take that back. You're good. Continue.
Oh.
Oh.
It's a nice staff that I can do cool magic with.
David.
Oh, I already need to clean it. Great.
Just remember to keep the adamantine well oiled, otherwise it may rust.
Are you done, Mark? I thought I was the kid here.
Yes, sorry.
I'm good.
So does the group rejoin each other?
Yeah.
Oh, right before you guys arrive, she'll look at Basir a little bit more, like looking a bit more serious. And she tells him that her father always used to tell her that do whatever you gotta do, cry as much as you need, and even grieve as much as you need, but make sure you're better the next day, because nobody's gonna fight your fight. And I'm here next to you whatever you want. And we're all here for you. And if there's a specific way you need my help, you can just tell me that. Like, tell me how I can help you. And that's it.
There's no easy way through this. It's just going to be something that I'm going to have to deal with over time. That's just how it is. Nobody can just tell me the right thing and then it just gets better. I know that.
The group of you travel on the path that you've kind of marked out. I'll need a survival roll from whoever's leading. I'm pretty sure it'll be Sharp-Eyed. I think he has the best survival.
Yeah. I'll help, of course.
Okay. Well, you're in elk form at the moment, aren't you?
Yeah, I still have senses.
That's true.
I still have mentally I know which way my bird went.
I don't think he needs it.
um, after half of day's travel through these uh, picturesque and scenic forested mountainside, the sky is as gray as it ever has been in this part of the world. You find a spot that might be comfortable to at least take a short break on your travels. Or perhaps you want to continue to just push through until the very end of the day. That'll be up to you. Regardless, you were not harassed on your journey towards this giant skull that you seek. Or boneyard is more accurate. And after a foggy, cloudy, dreary, mountainous day of travel, where you'd spent the night not sleeping, you finally come to a place where you could make camp. You're gathered all together in the wilderness. Not as swampy as when you had traveled through the swamps the bayou outside of Anchor. But I don't think you've done much traveling on the road all together in a long time. Well, maybe in the woods out on your way to get to Merwin's cabin, but still, even then, you had the guide. This is just you, just the group of you that have been together this whole time in this forested mountainside, making camp for the night after a full day's travel. Visir, they're all gathered around the fire, and it'll be up to you to decide if it's time for that talk or not.
Nasir kind of looks to everybody and kind of tilts his head one way and then tilts his head the other, and then glances up at the sky and takes a bit of a stand. If everybody wouldn't mind, I don't know when I'm going to have another chance to actually talk about what I want to talk about, but I think it's important. I just need everybody to listen to me for a bit before weighing in. I've read stories about people who embark on massive quests to save the world here and there. Sometimes they're fictional and sometimes they're historical. And more often than not, during those stories, something happens where one of them ends up having to sacrifice themselves to save the others. It's very common. Now, I'm not saying that it will happen, but there's a possibility that we might find ourselves in that sort of a situation. While I am absolutely certain that every single one of you would volunteer if that need ever came up, the fact of the matter is that it should only be one person, and we should know ahead of time if that ends up becoming the case. Personally, I looked at it a lot of different ways, And I think that the most reasonable candidate, should that particular scenario ever come up, is myself. And I don't say that because I want to be the one, or because I think none of you could handle it, or anything like that. I say that because it just makes the most sense. When I think about what's going to happen after we succeed, should we succeed, I think about what everybody's lives are going to be like afterwards, and what all you could potentially do. When it comes to Sarani, for instance, I see him as being somebody who can really help to form a better understanding of the things that we on the surface don't really know a whole lot about. As well as help people to learn to accept new people, new types of people, new things in their lives. I think that he is very quickly learning about a lot of different things, and eventually will become very useful as a connection, in the same way that Sharp Eye would be. Sharp Eye's people have more or less been keeping to themselves for a while, but I think that they would benefit from being able to join up with everybody else and be able to interact with Oridon as a whole without being seen as threats or monsters, without themselves feeling the need to steal or attack in order to defend themselves or to gain resources or anything like that. I think he would make a really good diplomat on behalf of all the lizard people. Luna, obviously, I mean, you save people, you heal people, you bring people back, you do all of that, and that is a service that I don't think anybody can really surpass as far as the usefulness of it. Angus, while you might not feel like you offer a whole heck of a lot, you have a deep understanding of the nature of death and what that entails, and that's going to be very helpful to a lot of people moving forward. I think eventually you'll be able to become an educator to a lot of people, to help them understand what it means to be cursed, to die many times. You have a lot of experience that nobody else will ever be able to replicate, and that experience is worth passing on. Mirth has become a very good person, all things considered. He might deny it sometimes, but the fact of the matter is, his magic and the consideration that he normally takes for others these days is, well, it's about as much as I could ask for as somebody who was once asked to help teach everybody what the right thing to do is. I mean, the fact that I am absolutely certain that everybody would be would volunteer themselves in this capacity is a testament to that. But when I think about myself, I think that my life's ambition is just to go back to the monastery and, well, give Master Morrison a retirement. I don't really have much more to offer other than what I've already passed down to most of you. A sense of right and wrong, sticking to your principles, things like that. Sure, I might be able to teach that, but I've already taught you guys. And you can pass that on in my stead, as well as more things. Among all of us, I just feel like I am the one who will have the quietest, least impactful life after all of this is over. And as such, it would probably make the most sense that if, on the chance, it becomes necessary for someone to die for whatever reason to save everybody else, who knows, it's gotta be me. obviously, I think a lot of you are going to disagree, but I think that I have laid out a pretty inarguable case.
And Angus is going to like wait and see like if Vizier sits back down to sort of indicate that he's done. And then steadily get to his own feet and just sort of square his shoulders and rest his hands behind his back and say, "That is the biggest load of horseshit I have ever heard in my life." Okay. You have a point in that you've taught us a lot. You've taught me a lot. You may not appreciate how important that is, but you made me a better person. Provably, you have made me a better person. You can sit there and theorize about how I would be an excellent grief counselor. Did it escape your notice that I ran away from a temple of Thandra dedicated to helping people when they're grieving? Because I'm not. Okay. Grief counseling. I can give that a try. How about this, for one? You lost somebody very important to you not all that long ago. And I think it's been apparent to some of us, and Angus sort of gives like a significant look towards Luna, that you haven't really had time to process that because we've been on this mission the whole time. But here's the thing about grief: it can make you make stupid decisions that aren't based rationally. That you're caught up in what you're feeling, and that influences you. And you can sit here and say that you have nothing to offer but going back to the monastery, but I mean, when you explained it to me, the tradition that Sensei Morrison taught you, the meditation that you do, it's about getting in touch with your perfect self, right? Your astral form? And you haven't finished growing yet. You haven't achieved your apotheosis. And Angus like steps closer, takes his hands out, like rests them on Vizier's shoulders, and like looks him dead in the eyes. I am 100% sure, my friend, that when you are finished, you're going to be the very best of us. You have a point that we don't know what's going to happen, but funny thing about those stories you were talking about, when the sacrifice comes, it's not plotted out ahead of time. It's not decided upon. It's just as things happen in the moment. And like you said, if it comes down to it, if one of us needs to make that sacrifice, I trust every one of you to do what's necessary to save every person in Oregon. And as Angus sort of like steps back and sits back down, sort of rests with his forearms resting on his knees, sort of catches Vizier's eye across the fire. Those books you read. You ever read Horatio Hornswoggle? Those ones are real good.
Serrani sits up off of his haunches, kind of adjusts himself to where he's not standing at full height like he normally does when he makes a statement, but more of a casual stance, and says, "I agree with friend Angus, except for one thing. I'm not trying to save all of Oregon. That is too big a task. I'm trying to save my circle, and your circle, and the rest of us. If Oregon is saved, then so be it. But trying to put the weight of the entire world on our shoulders has been hubris at best. We're but one group that is working towards this same goal. There's friend Lark and her friends. There's Felix. There's the elves that we've met. There's the Queen. We are not alone in this endeavor, and if one of us or all of us should fall, it would not be the end of the fight against this evil. So I have decided that I'm only going to try to save my circles. The one with Baraldi and the one that I'm in now with you. So if it becomes a matter of one of us having to sacrifice, like Angus said, we will all rise to the challenge. We will all make the steps to preserve each other. But I have a feeling that when the time comes, and he kind of gives a look over to Mirth, someone will have a plan on how to circumvent those, quote, inevitables that happen. And as we've seen, we are stronger together than we are apart. And as long as we stay together, we will succeed. We may not look good doing it, but we will succeed. He just kind of sits down and looks over at Sharp Eye and kind of gives him a nod and rests back on his haunches on the little stump that he has here.
I'm going to stand up and, leaning on my new staff, just look over at Vasir. So, story expert here. The whole sacrifice thing is a cliche. And I try and stay very far away from cliches. So, as far as I'm concerned, I'm not going to let any of that happen anytime soon. Second of all, if it were to come down to it, I think you're vastly underestimating any future prospects you might have. Sure, retiring to a monastery might not sound like the most glamorous of things, spend... I really don't know what you do. I've read books. You sit on top of mountains and watch seasons change and drink tea and give cryptic omens to wandering passerbys. Again, cliche. Should probably avoid that. But the amount that Sensei Morrison has done by just putting you into our life in the presence of people like me and Angus, who may never have set out on this in the first place if somebody like you wasn't there to guide us, is staggeringly important. And I think that you're placing not nearly enough credit on yourself for the things that you can do just by being who you already are. You're the best among us. You've always strove for the preservation of life and the preservation of happiness. And when you miss a few chords, a second beat, an off-tempo rhythm in your drum song, do you stop and restart? No, because you're a performer and you go on and you continue. And I expect you to do that here without stuttering. It's been a hard few weeks. It's just us. And even though it might not be the best time for relaxation now, it's among the better opportunities we've got. And I think we should take that before we go off saying any martyrical bullshit that might not even have to rise up. Because as Sarani says, I do intend to not have to force one of us to go leaping off into the pit with a wistful smile and a single wave of their hand goodbye as they're consumed to save the rest of us, because a win that isn't for all of us isn't a win that's good enough for me, and it never was in the stories. You say that Angus, as an educator, would be better than you, but the amount of good you've done by being near us, and the amount of good that you could do by putting more people like you into the lives of others from that monastery. I could write you a poem about it, but I'm rather tired. and have horrible nightmares, so I'm gonna hold off on the artistic expression until I'm feeling better. But we have a job to do, and that job takes precedence over whatever. It's not a fantasy, but any entertainments of the thought that you might have that we would have to split up to finish this, that I won't entertain, and I hope you won't either. Because we've come this far, and we've made mistakes, but you've always been the one who taught us how to make less in the future. So, yeah, do stick around for a bit, because you'd love to hear our story and the way it ends. And I'm gonna misty step back onto my log seat.
Sharp-eyed will stand up and say, Vasir, badass. Noble in warrior sacrifice. Maybe not badass in that. Sharp-eyed badass. Luna badass. Angus badass. Mirth badass. Sorani badass. All noble. Because Vasir noble. You say, Sorani, no go off alone. Vasir, no go off alone. And Sharp-eyed sits down.
Is that everything?
When he says
One
that,
last thing. If you make Luna a widow, I will kill you.
He'll have to kill me a second time, so.
when Vasir says,
I am living proof that that is possible, my friend. I will find a way.
when Vasir says, "Is that all?" You can probably see Luna stand up. She'll walk towards Mirth, who can see her that she's in tears. She'll take his staff. She'll ask for it. Mirth,
I just got this. Please don't break. Just please don't break it.
she'll turn around and walk towards Vasir, and she'll tell him that I probably should say something clever, something to make you smile, something to make you. But hearing how easy you talk about dying makes me so mad, and she'll like hit him with the staff.
Hey,
Okay. Ow.
And like
Now, as Vasir's self-appointed grief counselor, I believe that makes me qualified to settle a domestic dispute as well. And Luna, I believe that's what we refer to as domestic violence, and it is generally frowned upon.
yeah, no,
Besides,
don't do that again.
If we were gonna have a vote, I think honestly, I would vote for Angus because he'll just come back anyway and can tell us how it went. Just to be,
Um,
I mean, practically speaking, of course.
Serrani, you understand the flaw in that is that I can't control what I come back as. I could come back as a halfling.
Ronnie just groaned. But you
Visir,
would
I'm
have to,
gonna.
if you were a cleric, that would be fine.
Visir, you're left with a smack from Luna. I don't know if you have any final words to add to this conversation, since that seems to be...
To be clear, she will continue hitting him until he ends.
eventually,
I'm gonna telekinetically
Yeah.
yank it back the first chance I get.
Vasir's just kind of gonna like stand and like put his arms around her and just be like, "Okay, enough with the hitting. Enough with the hitting. No more of that." Look, you of all people should know that if something were to happen to me, eventually everything will be all right. Death isn't the end. You know that. We go places. I've been working on a song for you, for especially this occasion.
Wait. Oh, I'm gonna pull my banjo out of my handy haversack and pass it to Angus. It might need to be tuned a little. And then I'm gonna pull out my flute and kind of pucker my lips. We haven't done this in a while. Get a tune going. I'll see what I can do. And then look over at Vasir.
And he stops hugging Luna for a moment and kind of steps back a step and takes both of her hands in his. It always seems more quiet in the dark. It always feels so stark. A silence grows under the moon. Constellations gone so soon. I used to think that I was bold. I used to think love would be fun. There's many stories to be told, but for you I've only one. He steps behind her and kind of holds her around the waist. When the stars start to align, I hope you'll take it as a sign that you'll be okay. Everything will be okay. And when the world will collapse, although the day might be my last, you will be okay. When I'm gone, you'll be okay. And when creation goes to die, I'll be with Thundra in the sky upon the last day. You will be okay.
There's quiet. Going into the night. Watches are decided upon. Bedrolls are unfurled. And you sleep under the cloudy, a little bit starry sky. Somewhere between Darkhaven and Ravenreach. It's peaceful. But sleep is no easier than it was the night before. And we'll end it there for tonight. Also, you all definitely get inspiration for this adventure. We'll be back in a little while with Artifact Recovery Corporation. Some people have a hard stop at 5 today, so we're not going to do favorite moments right now. But I
Well,
think
I got
that
a couple minutes. I got a couple minutes if you want to
got
do
a
that.
couple minutes. Okay, everybody share your favorite moment for one of the other characters at the table, and we'll just go through quick. Alex.
Oh boy. It's got to be Angus. Just throughout the entirety of this session, I feel like he had basically the whole show. I'll be honest, it's partially why I didn't know if I even wanted to do the convo this time around, because I'm like, this is kind of Angus's episode, all things considered.
No, I am genuinely super glad that you did, because like at the beginning I was genuinely trying to like step back more, because like we want to have Visir moments, and it's just felt like I've been eating up a lot of screen time lately. So that's why I was like, please talk to Jonas for me. Please go have screen time, because you are so good when you do. And just getting that insight into Visir and the way that he's like not really fully had time to process his grief and is still like young. It's the first person he's lost, doesn't know how to handle anything, and he's just had all this stuff churning in the back of his head. It was good.
What about for you, Nor? Favorite moment for someone?
I mean, you can't possibly choose someone this episode. Like Angus's ritual was awesome. Visir's whole thing was awesome. Mirtha's speech thing at the end for Visir was, you know, and
Eloquence.
Even yeah. So yeah, everybody killed it in my opinion.
Well,
Let's take a moment to appreciate as well how much like information gathering, and it's like, well, we can go talk to Old Man Jonas, which turned out to be kind of a wash. And meanwhile, like Mirth and Saradi are both just like, I can do magic. I'm gonna just summon a creature and get it to scout the skies. I'm gonna just commune with nature itself and get us the answers we need.
Always need spellcasters at your side.
Kim, for you, somebody favorite moment from one of the other characters?
So Alex actually discussed that conversation that Visir was going to bring up with me ahead of time, and we were like, because we were going through everything, and I think it went really, really well.
I do too.
I was again, I just have to give it to everybody this episode, because this is you're right, it's basically essentially the first solid group expedition, like just our groups that we've had in quite a while, since maybe around Twilight Hill, because we were at the monastery and then we had the elves, and this is just us going off into the wilderness again, and it's really amazing watching all of the character involvement in the others over the course of 10.5 months. And I mean, for somebody my age, that's like a really that's a big amount of time. So I'm just super happy that it's continued this far, and we're going strong again with moments like these. So yeah,
Trying to say old.
Yes.
Did he
Applause
just
to
call
everyone.
us old?
All of us. He called all of us old. That's what just happened.
I called myself young. I'm giving praise to everyone. Okay.
Yeah, I think it was really neat how there were like a lot of these callbacks to like stuff that happened really early in the campaign that just sort of came up really organically tonight. And I wanted to give Mark a quick shout out. Luna and Visir having the conversation when they were waiting in the woods, and Luna sort of making the promise of like, I promise you we're all going to make it through this. And you just had that moment of interjecting and just being like, both of your thoughts turn back to Gerard, the friend that you lost so early in this adventure. And it's just that point, it's like, knife through my heart.
I think it's a group dynamic. While definitely there are a few of us, David and Alex, who are much more thespian oriented than others. I Kim, I love you, but I mean, there's a level, and then there's Kim right underneath that. If we're talking about planning ahead, it's all you. If we're talking about the emotional feels in the moment, David and Alex have it right in the moment, right?
I identify as a male thespian, yes.
But the amount of crap that this party has gone through, and to see us go from 2 weeks ago, where we were basically at each other's throats, basically just dying to just like have this giant free for all right in the middle of right out in the front yard of Merwin's cabin. We're just about ready to just get it on to this reconciliation of all these feelings and emotions, and to get back to this is really where we're this is our family. We're worried about these people and the people who are attached to these people and nothing else. It's a testament to the players, and it's a testament to you, Mark, because you've laid all the groundwork for this. We would be able to, without such a deep and rich environment for us to play in, there wouldn't be this kind of role playing. So thank you very much.
Preach, Rick, preach.
Mm-hmm. All I do is put things in your way, and you guys do the rest. That's it.
Just wanted to give a quick shout out to Nora as well. That we had this entire everybody getting to say something in response to Vizier, and Luna's response was to give him a dope slap.
You could have done it with your hand. You didn't need my new awesome magical staff to do it with. I'm just saying.
Look, I'm not good with words, so.
Yeah. Oh no, that was
it was very Luna. It was very Luna.
It was very Luna. Like, she already had her heart to heart with him, right, and tried to explain that this was okay, and then he goes off on this. I'm going to sacrifice it. I can just see Luna like, you asked me to marry you, and then you're going to fucking sacrifice yourself. Get over here. Like, I can just see her wanting to take her shoe off and just beat the ever-loving crap out of him.
Mirth, the only thing that really proves is that your staff can stand up to Vizier.
Yeah.
Yep. Which is, I mean, it's better than most weapons.
In a fight between your staff and Vizier gave up. Just remember
that.
Yeah. Okay, you know what? That's fair. I'll take it.
All right, guys. Well, thank you for the kind words, and for each other and for me. I appreciate it. It was an awesome game, and man, I can't wait to see what happens next week. I have to think of new nightmares. I mean,
sorry for ruining your plans.
I will ask this: the nightmares that I had for each of you, were they on point, or was I askew?
Mine was on point, for sure.
Mine was on point, but because my brain hates me, the one that I had in my head is 10 times worse.
Gotcha.
Yeah, mine was solid.
I will tell you it off camera, so we can maybe have it open next stream if you want to be really grim.
Mine was more of not everybody being dead, but everybody taken over by Warriga instead. Just walking around and seeing them all zombified was much more. Having them all dead and me being alone is still that's on point. Serrani being alone and not having a circle is on point. However you get there, because that's all he knows.
What David said was very accurate. It was on point, but we had very dark things.
This is what your life would be. This is what your life would be if Murph hadn't been there to save
Next
you
week,
twice.
Expect a lot worse.
Next week, I'm gonna open the adventure with, what nightmare did the hags bring to you tonight? and let you describe it.
Then I will save mine because mine is really good.
Oh, I can come up with more. Mark, can I give a quick shout out?
Go for it.
I would like to thank everyone who's coming over to my Twitch channel. I am right now at 141 followers, so I'm 59 away from having 200 followers myself.
Nice.
So I'd like to thank everybody, especially this community. I know you guys put a lot of time and effort here in the Mark stream, and the fact that you have time to come by and check me out is greatly appreciated. So thank you very much.
Glad we have the community that we do that can continue to help others grow. I know also that Bun has been streaming artwork lately, and he just got to 50 followers this weekend, so we were able to...
Bun's super good.
Yeah.
Everyone go check him out. Bun is super good.
So, like, yeah, every chance we get to spread our community to others and show them some love, we're happy to do it.
I gotta head out. Thanks, Mark.
See ya. We're all gonna head out. We'll see you next week. Until then, come swing by Arc tonight. Later.
See some of you on Wednesday.
Ooh, the gloves. Nice.
Oh, shit.